Greetings and welcome to another thrilling and exciting episode of the Planetary Persuader. I am KozMckev, your host. This is for October 11th, 2019, and looking at the sky today, what do we got? Well, looks like we've got a moon in the constellation of Aquarius and Pisces right on the cusp, and the lunar mansion of that area of the sky is known as Purvabhadrapada or Purvabhadra. And Purvabhadra is ruled by a deity known as a Jakapada. And a Jakapada is another guise of Shiva, sort of like the one-footed goat is one saying, and I've also heard the one-footed dancing Shiva. And it's ruled by Jupiter, and it's 1/4 in Aquarius and 3/4 in Pisces. And one of the symbols is the sword, another symbol is the two faces, one peering off into the afterlife and one looking at this life, so the two faces. And the funeral pyre is another symbol of Purvabhadrapada. And so that's, an interesting twist on this. Now we've got a full moon this weekend, folks, happening at 2:08 p.m. on Sunday, and it'll be in the sign of Aries in the tropical zodiac, but if you want to look at it, it'll be in the constellation of Pisces. And the part of Pisces it'll be in is the lunar mansion known as Revati or Revati. And so Revati is ruled by Mercury. And Revati is a place where Venus is exalted. And so this moon enhances the Venetian qualities of things. There's this beautification that goes on. It also rules roads and passages and times. And so this full moon is very symbolic. I always like to call them the second harvest moon, the first full moon after the autumnal equinox. So the second harvest moon. It's also Sukkot in Judaism. It's the festival of booths, and which is also about hanging up your vegetables and herbs to dry. So it's very symbolic of what seasonally happens here in Northern California and in Southern Oregon, and people are hanging up their crop. And so that's a large part of what this full moon is about too. Okay, so now other things happening. Venus just moved into the tropical sign of Scorpio last week, and really there's no other shifts this week except Pluto went direct, I think, last week. So that's, a little bit different. All things said, sign by sign, we're going to get into it here, starting with you, Aries. So, greetings, Aries. Welcome to your horoscope. And I hope it's okay if I flip this thing around so I can make sure I've lined myself up, which I didn't, get to do before. Okay, now I'm lined up. See, it's important. So, yeah, greetings, Aries. Welcome to your horoscope. For this week, we have Mars now in your 7th house. In Libra, and this is tropical zodiac terms. This is the actual constellation, because that would be Virgo or something. And for most of you, a lot of people are blown away by that. That's what I'm amazed at this. No, it's true. The scientists are right. The constellations have moved. So there's a full moon in your sign on Sunday afternoon. So that means like Saturday night, that full moon, and the moon will be in Aries this weekend. And so, you're kind of like the flavor of the month this weekend, even up until Monday morning. So there's all this, Aryan energy, coming down the pike. And sometimes I notice that sometimes this can be the most violent moon of the zodiac. I've seen fights break out on it. People get a little cray-cray. You know, their vitamin D is diminishing. They're getting depressed and they're getting angry all at the same time. You know, so you got to be careful with that. So, you know, you want to have some kind of strategy to keep things chilled, and ultimately you want to be diplomatic. Work and career stuff, there's a lot of karma around that for you, and just keeping a good spiritual life. And money really comes and goes a lot with Uranus in the second house these days. You know, you're kind of hemmed in by Neptune and Uranus as far as your whole persona goes. And so that's another thing to think about too. It's like one thing's an illusion, one thing's a potential accident, you know, and it's hard to necessarily, unless you get the highest stuff from it, you know. The one thing could be your spiritual vision, and the other thing is what's giving you inspiration. So if you look at it like that, you'll look better. Okay. So, greetings Taurus, welcome to your horoscope. So, you know, we've got Uranus retrograde in the first house, but it's mostly affecting, you know, the first people in the first 10, 11 degrees of Taurus. So if you're beyond that, you know, if you're born pretty much after, you know, May 2nd or something, you're not really feeling the Uranus effect so much. We've got the Sun and Mars in the 6th house. So there's a lot of work to be done. You know, there's a lot of industry. There's a lot of needing to pay attention to what needs to be done, focusing on that and getting going with that in a really good way. Okay, that's what's needed. And serving others, working cooperatively with others. That is another big theme for you. Venus and Mercury are in the 7th house, so your sway, your ability to be diplomatic, you know, even as a shark or as an orca, you can still, you know, make it happen. You can speak the words of kindness that unlock things and make things better. And so that's another way. And relationship, you know, you might be attracting more, and a lot of issues involving women to deal with in that too. And you know, Jupiter in your 8th house. I mean, other people give you things. You know, this is a good time for asking favors and people helping you. So that's a good thing. And yeah, that's about it. All right. So we go to Gemini. Greetings, Gemini. Welcome to your horoscope. So, I mean, I learned about Mercury retrograde. I learned about all the retrograde cycles of the planets in my last class with my Jyotishi teacher, Camilla Sutton. And it was so amazing that there's specific periods of time that each planet goes retrograde for, overall, follows this pattern. And generally, Mercury goes retrograde for 25 days. It's not going to go retrograde until Halloween, so there's something to think about. So from Halloween, but I think it's shorter than that. I think to like the 20th of November, it's going to be retrograde. Yeah, that's it. Yep. That's what I said. So, you know, 22 days in that case. So I say do your stuff now. You know, get your stuff, make hay while the sun shines. A lot of relationship issues going on right now. You're really inspired creatively, working with your kids. You need to take care of health issues. Make yourself look better. Just be good to yourself. Give yourself beauty rest. Relationships should be good. You know, work is somewhat elusive. It can go either way. And the weekend looks very social. It looks very party-like. It should be a lot of fun. Yeah, it'll be a quick one, so you don't have to hassle it. All right, so, my dear friend, Cancer, welcome your horoscope. I mean, so here we have this North Node in your first house. And really, the North Node of the Moon is sort of like the handle on the bucket of all the planets these days. So you may not know this, but you have a lot of sway right now, Cancer. You have a lot of power. You have a lot of ability to direct and guide things. And this is going to be to your benefit. So just know that. And make it happen there with this. You're going to be fine in every way. So feeling it for you. I mean, this is a time also where you could be moving and there's a lot of movement, and there's a lot of family issues, especially with older adults. Your love life and creative life are in an explosion, a renaissance. So whether you're just in the kitchen or the garden or whatever you're doing, arranging things are better. You've got a little more juice and drive to make things happen, make things be good for yourself. I mean, relationship issues have been, touch and go. They're not going to get super easy right now. I wish I could say they were, but you give it some time. Things are going to move in a much more positive direction in about another month. So another month we'll be talking a different story about that for you. Like, ooh, this is nice. We all want some nice every now and then, right? But yeah, it's family stuff. It can be a little bit challenging, and this weekend, you could be in the public eye. The moon is there in your midheaven, so isn't that something? Well, greetings, Leo, and welcome to your horoscope. Okay, so what do we think of this? What we say about Libra is it is the sun's debilitation. Now, why is that? Well, it's because, the exaltation is Aries. The Aries is the sun is growing, it's rising, everything's like, hey, I'm happy, I'm getting bigger. And Libra's like, oh my God, the sun is dying. The sun is dying. There's more darkness than light. What are we going to do? It's like a sunset. And it's also about, we got to consider other people. We have to harmonize. You can't just be the evil queen or the evil king telling everybody what to do. Your way or the highway. After all, I'm the Leo. I'm like, oh, please. Executive privilege, baby. We know what this is like. Yeah, it's no wonder that the executive leader has a Leo rising in both the sidereal and the Western zodiac. It's like, oh God, yeah. But there's other stuff that makes a good leader too, And so, that's excellent. So there's other things that make a good leader, it's being steadfast and reliable. And right now, you're kind of introspect. You're really kind of going within right now. And personal happiness means a lot to you. You do have some creative mojo, though. And you really got to work on your health issues. You really got to get your physical body in better shape and your health boosted so that you can, for those of you who are in the northern hemisphere and, are north of 30 degrees latitude and you actually experience a little bit of winter, some form or another, you're going to have to, be ready for some of that. And even up here in Northern California, heck man, we've already had snow. The last day of September, it snowed down to like 5,500 feet. So, we already have this like touch of winter all around us. It's like, oh my God, how did this happen? It's like, and it was like 43 in Chico in the morning. And, and it had been, just like a few days earlier, it was 100. It was 100 Wednesday. And then Monday morning, I think Sunday morning it's 45, and Monday morning it's 43, and you're like going, what is going on here? And so here we go, Virgo. Greetings, Virgo. Welcome to your horoscope. Libra time is mostly about making money for you and dealing with resources, dealing with family issues. Who doesn't have a family with issues, right? They're going to do that to you. Anyhow, it's like, how can I make family work and be better at this point? And how do I make spiritual alliances with people at this time? And so the moon this weekend is in the 8th house, sort of transformational. It's okay for you to ask other people for favors, but it's really not a time where you can expect to be in control of things so much, in this full moon. So, and it's like let go, let things die. It's also the moon of unjust reward, so you kind of want to chill with that. And now Mercury, good old Mercury in Scorpio in your 3rd house. So your communication is good. Venus is there. You're sort of a flirt with your friends and whatnot, or maybe they're starting to flirt with you. Well, it happens, and so you're starting to approach a little bit of that flavor. You're getting a little flavor for yourself, and so you're trying to work creatively with what is difficult and making things better for yourself that way. Okay. Let me go to Libra. Happy birthday to you, dear Libra. Welcome your horoscope. This is a great time for you. You're stepping out. You've got Mars in the first house. This helps you move forward. So Mars is working better for you than anybody else. And even though Mars is really not in a super great place in Libra, it is helping you get work. It's helping you make decisions and be more decisive. Venus and Mercury in the second house, good time for singing, using your unusual voice to bring things on. You're having fun with neighbors and siblings, communicating, and maybe you're taking care of old parents and their difficulties. And, you have to work on health issues as well. I mean, it's like a romantic weekend. Moon's in Aries, your opposite sign. It's kind of like the love sign for you. And, yeah, you're getting some inspiration from that. There could be some unusual things. You could get your sexy on this weekend. It's possible. I'm just saying. All right. Speaking of sexy, hello, Scorpio. And welcome to your horoscope. Okay, so like Scorpio, you got Venus and Mercury. So you know how to communicate. You know how to be creative, to create beauty. And you're at a more relaxed place. You're much more comfortable with yourself. You're feeling sweet with yourself. It's time to wear kind of, cool outfits. If you're feeling you're sexy on, you can wear sexier outfits, if you're keeping yourself nice and fit and looking good. And you should, you should be looking good. And you can work your voice with kindness. I mean, your own environment, there's been some rough stuff that have happened in your neighborhood, in your community, in your vicinity. And, you have to work on the healing of that. This weekend, I'd say just kind of take it easy. It's good for homework, working on the house. There's a lot of, you don't want to overdo it, with this full moon, because it'd be hard on your health. That's what I'm thinking. So, don't make things hard on your health. Mars is in your 12th house, so is the sun. So pay attention to your dreams and pay attention to your own karma. You're harvesting it. This is not a time to do a bunch of silly, stupid things. You need to be careful. You need to spend more time in your spiritual life, more time in prayer. Okay. Greetings, Sagittarius. Welcome to your horoscope. Time for a drink. Well, Jupiter is blessing you, so you have this blessing of Jupiter in your first house. Brings a little bit of good fortune. Sun and Mars in the 11th house, this is social life. This is definitely like going to a football game. I always think when you get Sun and Mars, they're kind of like masculine planets in the 11th house, where it's just sort of like, it's a social full on, where, when you've got Venus and Mercury in the 12th house, those are kind of more feminine planets. I know that, we think of Mercury as androgynous in Western astrology. But in the sidereal zodiac, we give it as a time to really help women, too, is a good Mercury karma. And so, your karma with the feminine is up, Sagittarius, and this weekend's moon is super fun for you. If you have children, especially female children, you kind of want to celebrate them and be a part of their lives, but just the creative expression is really strong at this point. And there's a lot of personal transformation just with the moon's nodal axis, the north node being in Cancer, and the south node being in Capricorn in the second. So, it's easy to overspend. Just be careful with that stuff. Speaking of Capricorn, well, greetings, Capricorn, and welcome to your horoscope. Okay, so, right now, we've got Saturn. We've got, well, it's not just Saturn, Pluto. south node, all in your first house. So there's this kind of like need to simplify things and to know that everything is fragile and everything, including yourself, deserves compassion. And you're working on a new kind of relationship. A new style and a new kind of relationship that works for you. And the moon is super powerful because it's in the fourth house, which is the house of the moon and mother. So your relationship to your mom, older adults might come up this weekend. What's going on in your house? Fixed assets. Are you comfortable with them? How are you working with them? All of this is part of the experience. Okay. Okay. So. Greetings, Aquarius, and welcome to your horoscope. You don't want to make it too horrible or anything. Let's see. Okay, so you're being hemmed in right now by Saturn and Neptune, in your own personality, as well as Pluto, South Node, Saturn in the 12th house, Neptune in the second. So you just kind of wonder yourself, is this real? Is this a nightmare, or is this a good dream? And with that, the Aries moon's not so bad. The Aries moon is about community, it's about friendship, it's about family, it's about siblings, especially younger siblings, the communication arts, working with your hands. All of that's going to be great this weekend. So you can carve pumpkins, you can do a little trim this weekend, you can let's see, travel looks good with Sun and Mars in your 9th house. In fact, Libra time is the best time for an Aquarius to travel. Best time for you to get out there. It's a good time to visit an ashram, though, or go on a spiritual retreat or yoga retreat, too. That would work good for you. As far as work and public, you're really doing good work right now. You're really a sweetheart. Your social reputation is good. You just got some weird things around you. It's like, I'd be having so much fun if there weren't all these weird things around me. And speaking of weird things around you, Pisces. So I want to just give a shout out to Gail Baker, who asked me to give a longer Pisces this week. So I told her by the 11th I would do that. And so here we are. And what do we got going on? Well, Libra time for you is 8th house. There's a lot of transformation. This is not an easy time. This is when other people have the power. It's other people's property. Mars is there, which intensifies the 8th house because it brings up that, more scorpionic vibe. And so, confrontation. It's also like keeping your health in a good place, Don't get yourself poked or hit with anything. On the spiritual level and educational level, you're able to understand a lot more in-depth stuff, so your mind should be working pretty well. And as far as career, with Jupiter in the 10th house, that should be helping. And the Aries moon, well, it could bring money this weekend. It could bring money. It could give you a voice. It could give some family issues. Family is part of the values system, and that often comes in the 2nd house as well. So you're going to have to negotiate with them in this pointed situation that you're experiencing that you really don't deserve, but it's just what's happening at the moment. And you've got that nice, calm, spiritual zen, having Neptune in the 1st house in its own rulership sign. It's like win-win, right? And even the North Node in Cancer, it's in the 5th house. You desire to be playful like a child and to be creative and to make these things work. And people are noticing your good creative stuff, and that you're getting luckier in love and conversation and communication. You could even learn a foreign language. Okay, there's a lot of Pisces right there. I hope you're satisfied. I can't wait to do this again next week with you. Don't be afraid to hit the bell, subscribe, please. I love your comments, and I want you to have the best week you possibly can. Be careful out there in that Aries full moon this weekend. Tell me about it if something wild happens, and we'll do this again next week on the Planetary Persuader with me, KozMckev.